Welcome to our High Vibe podcast with Coach Dawn and Derick. We are your host with the most, and we are here to share our journey as two entrepreneurs in a partnership, in a relationship, and with the utmost intent to elevate our lives. In this episode 8, we are diving into the magic of partnership. You know, how Dawn and I share and complement each other and support each other in our entrepreneurial endeavors. You know, success just isn't about the hustle. It's about knowing your strengths, about trusting your partner, and working in harmony to build something greater than yourself. We are peeling back the curtain on how we make it work, where I use structure and Coach Dawn uses flow. So we would love to call it hustle and flow, since that's a thing.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah, but Coach Dawn is not big on the hustle part. So we got.
You are though.
I am.
That is your language.
Oh, it is my language.
It does embody like the yin and the yang, the divine feminine and the divine masculine of the two energies that we beautifully bring together. So, baby, it's all good. You can stay with your hustle.
All right, let me stay with my hustle.
The harmony. I bring the harmony in the flow.
Yes, you do. So I'm going to stick with the hustle and flow.
So
today we're going to share with you the business side of our relationship, how we got it kicked off, and how we have merged our intent, how we have merged some of our actions. You know, we still have separate businesses, but we also created a business together, all wrapped around money and life coaching, because it does work together. And we're going to share with you how we did that, why we do that, and what it really means to us as we continue to grow and move forward. But before we get started, we have, and I say we because it's a we thing, we have this incredibly unique tool that Coach Dawn introduced to me, and she introduces in most, if not all, of her business interactions with her one-on-one clients and some of her corporate coaching clients. And she calls it a vibe check card. The vibe check card is all about where you are at the moment, because in order to truly elevate, in order to stay elevated, you have to know where you are so that you can figure out where you're going.
Yes.
So we're going to kick this off with the vibe check, and because we both need to know where we are. Anytime we come together, we get a really good feeling for where we are, and if we need to pull the other one up, if we need to support the other one. So Dawn, why don't you explain the card? And of course, if anybody wants a card, just message us and we'll make sure that you get one.
Well, the best explanation, people love something visual that represents how they're feeling, because a lot of times people don't know the right words to describe an emotion that they're feeling. You know, everybody knows love, everyone knows anger, but are you angry or are you just frustrated or annoyed? So the creation of this card allows humans to really figure out, am I in the downward spiral part of the emotions that I'm feeling, where we see where the red arrow is heading downward? Or am I in a position of neutrality or boredom? So therefore, I have a decision. Do I want to go up into the next elevated emotion, which is positivity, or am I going to slip down into pessimism? So I love this card. I just used it yesterday with a new client during a facilitation, and it really allowed for us to ground ourselves in the work that we were going to participate in that day. So as you are getting up, starting your day, and you can't quite identify what the heck is going on with me right now, and how should I be navigating today, check this card out, figure out where you are, and understand that we can't go from the bottom of the vibe check card, which is fear, to the top of the vibe check card, which is love. So if you're able to make incremental small moves and how you're feeling, will continue to expand and elevate as you go throughout your day. But we all need a grounding point.
Yeah, we do. But I use the word but I don't really mean but. What I want to say is, you did have somebody jump from the bottom of the spiral yesterday,
which was
to the, not the top of the other.
But she did move up. Yes, she did move up really quickly.
Significantly, right?
Yes, yes. And all that says to me that person really wasn't as low as they thought they were.
Okay.
And
that's important too, to know where you are.
Right, exactly. And sometimes in the normal humaning, we think we're worse than we actually are.
Do you think it would be beneficial to figure out like where you think you are most of the time, like where you are?
Yeah, like what is your day-to-day cadence? Like normally I wake up here. I wake up positive. I wake up hopeful. I
want to see where I wake up. Let me look, see where I wake up. I would guess that I wake up around optimism or enthusiasm. And that's why when I taught spin at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m., people didn't like me because I was amped and ready to go.
That was probably too high for those that aren't like early morning human, which I would fall in that bucket. So I would
be up in their face, like, let's go, let's get that work in.
I would be so annoyed with you. Matter of fact, I wouldn't be anything because I'd still be in my bed. But I do understand, yes, knowing overall baseline what your temperament is from day to day is really important. There are those humans that do understand and are very self-aware of who they are. So, but for those that don't normally like even think about it, they just kind of default in a mood, like they default to like, I'm just worried or concerned. And I know there's a lot of, that going on, pessimism, and that for some people, that's just really just how they are. But being able to truly and accurately identify the emotion that you're feeling really does help us move up in that mood and move up in that emotion a lot quicker, because we're all really not as bad as we think we are.
Yeah. So let's talk about how we kick this off. So you were referred to me for an overview, not really coaching, or just, hey, how can I get my business kicked off after you transition from your corporate universe to your entrepreneurial experience? And we met, we chopped it up. Well, when I say we met, we were on Zoom and we chopped it up, and I got a decent feel for what you were doing. I gave you some insights and tips. A couple of them you still talk about today. But
the optics.
She pulled it right there.
I mean, yes. I mean, again, you're a very wise human, and you came with an abundant amount of things to improve my business. So I was honestly a little overwhelmed, a little intimidated, because you've had so much more experience as an entrepreneur, as a multiple business owner, and you've been doing this for the majority of your career. And I, in 2020, was just truly embracing that, hey, I got to figure this out because I got to make some money. And I knew that I wasn't going back to a traditional corporate role after my 22 and a half years. And so it was that time where I got to figure this out.
Well, when I'm not getting paid, I tend to do that. What do you need? Here's what you need. Now I got to go. So I know it was a lot. But
it was a lot.
We figured it out.
It was a lot.
So we went from there, and we continued to touch base probably 6 months. And then after another 6 months, we were pretty much, connecting every week. And then, of course, that turned into a relationship. And so we connect every day. Not as much as I want, because that'd be every minute. But anyway, I digress.
We're talking about collaborating in business. So that would not be practical, my love. Okay.
Well,
it sounds good.
It does sound good. Okay. So anyway, let's talk about, that's how I just wanted you to know how we got started. And so it started with business, then it went to relationship, and now in the relationship, we do some business. So it started off, I would say, pretty good. So it's a relatively a good flow for us, the way we do things. But let's talk about the yin and the yang.
Yes.
I believe yin is the male and yang is the female. So from a yin's perspective, I bring the behind the scenes, the back end stuff. How do you get this working? How do you get your business set up for your your pages and your pays and your contracts,
Yes.
all that hard asset type.
Optimizing my SEO.
Well, optimizing your SEO. So
setting up my Google account so I can be found as the dopest life coach that you ever didn't know you needed. Right. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I love it. Here's the cool part. When you win, I win.
Yes.
So I'm more along those lines. And Coach Dawn her strengths are more front end. She brings the magic. Okay. She brings the hands-on, the intuition, the flow, the verbiage, the heart-centered connection with clients. She brings the human touch. And so together, if you take those two things together, it really creates a really good synergistic flow. And if you ever seen the yin and yang symbol, one flows right into the other. Mm-hmm. And in the middle of each one is the opposite, soul or purpose of the other person. Hence me wearing the DJE, the Don Johnson Experience, and Don wearing the 24K Life. So we love our branded gear.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. If you would like something, hey, reach out to us and we'll make sure that we get it to you. But, I would not suggest that we're opposites. I would suggest that we have a really strong foundational base on where we're going, what we're trying to do. I would call it a very strong similarity in core values.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay? There you go. So our core values are the same. We are trustworthy. We are trusted advisors. Mm-hmm. We want to see the best out of everyone and for everyone. And most importantly, over everything, we bring love to the forefront of whatever it is that we're doing. Now, my love might be tough love and her love might be a little softer, but it's still love. And, love is vast. So when we look at it, the question becomes, do opposites really make a good team? And again, I would say we're opposites on our strengths, but we're the same on our core values, which is the most important part. I would never want to do someone else's part, when I'm not doing my own. So when we look at it from that perspective, it's really cool that you remind me, because here's the cool part, everyone. We have the same client. Now, we deliver different solutions to those clients, but it's the same client. Mm-hmm. So if we were to look at who we serve, we really do serve the same energy, that high achieving person that's looking to elevate their life, that wants more, but they seem to be stuck somewhere. Mm-hmm. And I do, okay, well, let's get unstuck with your money. And Coach Dawn does, let's get unstuck with your life. Yes. And you need your money to make your life work. So it really does flow together. So she reminds me, my point in bringing this up is that she reminds me, you might want to soften that up a little bit, bruh.
That part. And it may seem on the surface like he does everything. And he does do quite a bit because he has so much experience. The things that are just so natural and intuitive to him as a business owner are not at all. I could spend all day creating a proposal. He can crank one out in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And so in the essence of being very efficient in my flow, I have, let's see, which way do I need to point? I got that guy.
There you go.
I got that guy to thank for all of his support and love. And yes, what I bring in this space is, I don't believe in the hustle. I spent 22 and a half years hustling for somebody else in corporate America, and it burned me out, made me sick, got alopecia, lost hair, a lot of health issues, came up living that type of life in corporate and that grind, right? We all are very familiar with this language because we're all grinding, we're all hustling, we're all trying to make it happen every day for ourselves as well as our families. But sometimes for me, when I look at that overall, at what cost?
Right. Even I did that, right? I got sick twice grinding.
Yes.
And it's, it was a big grind, and I don't know if it was worth it. I think it was worth it, but anyway, it's not necessary. If it was worth it or not, it wasn't necessary because there's a different way to reach the same result without getting sick, which is what we have both learned. Mm-hmm. And what I get reminded of constantly, by working and being around, your energy. You remind me constantly. Like, I was meditating this morning, and when I finished, I was thinking about some different things, and I'm like, man, one of the things that I personally have to work on is trusting that I don't have to have every single answer. Right. I don't have to have the solution of how this is going to work, so I can set it up and I can go do the work, but it might happen a different way. Mm-hmm. And I have been caught like that before. Like, no, okay. So let's say, for instance, you put together a project to generate $20,000 and you generate $20,000, but it didn't come the way I set it up. It came from some other direction. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, that, you're kind of happy about the money, but you're like, wait a minute, what's wrong with the way I set this up? And you get so focused on not having control that you missed the whole mark, that you ended up getting what you wanted in the first place. Yes. And you didn't have to work for it that hard because it wasn't even your focus.
Well, yes. And one of the other differences between the two of us is that you do get, is your word myopic? Is that it? You get
I get very myopic.
You are like laserly focused on like intense on, creating a thing. And I'm over here where your vision is more linear. Is that correct? Yes, linear. Mm-hmm. And I'm like the woohoo. I'm just like out here. I'm way out here. Right. And at times, you with your support and guidance, you do bring me in a little bit.
Yeah.
What I do for you is like, oh, babe, you're the tunnel vision right now. It's too intense. You're going to have to step back a little bit and then I offer him a different, maybe a softer lens, a more expansive lens. And since myself, I am his avatar as well as a potential client. So I'm also able to think through some scenarios that will help him because I am.
Yeah. Well, that's the number one it's close to number one or number two. One and two reasons why I listen to you is really close. Number one is because you are who I'm supposed to be trying to talk to. Mm-hmm. So if you're telling me this isn't working for me, then I need to listen because you're the person I'm trying to speak to. And at the same time, I trust you with everything that there is. And so between those two reasons, that's exactly why I'll take a step back. I'll listen and I'll absorb what you're telling me. But that leads us to trust. But before we talk about trust, I want to talk about something that you said, because I think it's important for people that work together or plan on working together. You mentioned that, there's some things that you could do, but it'll take you, this much time to do it, or you'll ask me to do it and it takes me this much time.
Right.
And that's been going on for a while. And you're just now starting to go, hey, babe, I need to create a proposal, or I need to do this, or I need to create this workshop, or whatever. Can you got time? You have time. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, I've never said no. So we do it. And then you're just like, oh, wow, that, I've been working on this for an hour before I ask you. So tell me, and I really don't know the answer to this. So tell me what that journey is about. Because I think I know you've said in the past, I don't want to bug you. I don't want to, I know you're busy, blah, blah, blah.
I'm an independent, strong Black woman.
Oh, that's the thing. Gotcha. Okay.
And there's nothing that I can't do. All right.
And the cape on.
And it's the cape. And even though in my most recent journey, in our relationship, the cape is in a glass case.
Glass case. We talked about it last time. The cape's in a glass case.
It's in a glass case. So I don't wear it on a day-to-day, but I still have, that part of me. We are both business owners, and I do know, how busy you are with your own work and managing of your own companies. And I don't, there are at times I'm like, let me see if I can just figure it out. And yes, Coach Dawn being her ego too, we all have to continue to do our own self-work.
Right.
But I'm also am reminded that in my own wellness journey that I get frustrated very easily when I'm trying to do this work, and then it can throw off the momentum and the flow of my day. Right. So I am learning that I need to trust my partner. I need to trust that he says that, hey, babe, I've got time to help you on those things. I needed to be reminded of he means it.
Right.
And so, and you've never in our journey, said, oh, hell no, I ain't got time for you. I'm busy to, working on me and focusing on me.
Right.
But there is that part of my own like default that I feel like I should be able to figure it out. Then I remind myself, stop shoulding yourself. You have this wonderful, yes, we have to I am my first client, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We all are. We should be.
We all are our first client. And so just being mindful that he has the skills, he has more experience. And instead of me sitting and stewing and brewing and getting frustrated on something that depletes my energy and can shift my day into that vibe check, lower, vibing energy.
Right.
Let me check in with my partner. He's not just my man. He is my partner, and us together, we're so much stronger together. He has enhanced my work on so many levels, and that I'm grateful. By the way, I'm very grateful, baby. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That you do.
You're welcome. All right, I'm going to tell you my perspective real quick, and let's take a break.
Feeling stuck? Lost in the routine of life? Your finances a puzzle you can't solve? It's time to break free. Introducing Mutual Magic, a transformative 21-day journey designed exclusively for women ready to reclaim their power and organize their lives. With our expert-crafted network, daily meditations, and essential financial tools, you'll redefine what success looks like. Track your progress within our mobile app, dive into self-care and mindfulness, and connect with money and life coaches when you need guidance. Day by day, step by step, watch as you transform, emerging more confident, focused, and financially empowered. Join us, and in just 21 days, find yourself not just dreaming of a better life, but living it. Mutual Magic, where your transformation begins.
So we're going to talk about our mutual magic in a second and how we were able to collaborate on that business. But my perspective is that, I know that there's things that I've shown you. Hey, this is how you do this. This is how you do that. And you in turn have said later, well, you already showed this to me, so I didn't want to ask you again because you already told me how to do blah, blah, blah. My perspective, however, is that, if my sons are grown men, but when they were kids, when they were in the sixth grade and the school called, everything stopped. And I went and took care of whatever they needed. It didn't matter if I was with the Pope. I was deuces. I'm out. I got to go take care of my loves. And, you fall into that category, especially since they're grown men and they're on their own. You've replaced them in that mindset. So for me, I have like zero hesitation. I mean, unless I'm actually in a meeting with a client and I'm available. And even when I'm in a meeting, sometimes I'll text you back and go, hey, I'm on a call. I'll hit you back in 20 minutes. But, there is no thing. I can tell you 1,000 times. It doesn't matter. Here's the truth of the matter. From a business perspective, if your COO came to you or your sales manager came to you and said, hey, I'm really trying to figure this out. And in order for them to figure that out, they need to know that to make a sale, which helps the business, which helps, the unit. I look at it as an investment when I help you. I mean, you do well. You don't know how much joy I get when I help you create a contract and you fire it off, and either that day or the next day or shortly thereafter, you call me back and say, hey, they signed the contract, thank you, or we're in. Yeah. And so it just means the world to me to know that I can bring and add that kind of value, to your business and your life, which is our business and our life. And I look at it that way. It's like, it's good for you. It's good for us. And so I never want you to hesitate to say, hey, now you already know me. If you know something's popping off, I'd rather you go, hey, do you have time tomorrow at 3 to sit down and work on this? But it doesn't always work that way, because sometimes you get into something you didn't plan on getting into, and now you're stuck or on the pathway of spiraling down, and we need to stop that spiral. And I can't count how many times you've hit me up and I'm like, look, I'm sitting here working on client's proposal, or I'm working on a client's budget or their investment package, and I can definitely use a break to see your beautiful face, to talk to you, to work with you, to get this done so you can continue the movement of your day. So that's my perspective on that. And I hope that you continue during your journey of growth to make that space less and less, and feel comfortable texting or calling saying, hey, I need help figuring this out.
Well, remember, I did ask for you. I did ask for I did ask for this. I did ask the universe. I did ask God to like, hey, send me someone who would support me in just in every aspect of my life, and us coming together and how we amplify each other's businesses. And like I said, our strengths are magical, and foundationally, we are rock solid with the same core beliefs and attributes. And it really does. It's not a head scratcher. We both have so much integrity. And we really care, about our clients. We care about the end results and their success and their growth, momentum and their wellness. And we get so much satisfaction back and forth when we share success stories. And we just get so, elated about the wins.
Yeah, because that's what God put us here for, right? And I don't mean us as a human race. I mean, you and I, individually, based on this conversation, he put us here to do the work that we're doing and to get those wins. And getting a contract is a win for the business, but having that client like hug you 8 times after your session is over and then tell you how amazing this was and how you've lifted the atmosphere, meaning the company and the team, after, a morning session or an afternoon session, and then email you the next day reiterating all that again because they're just so ecstatic. That's the goal. You're right.
And when we talk about, well, what's your ideal client? I literally say, I used to say it had a certain avatar, but I'm about the energy of wellness, the energy of love, the energy of intentionality, the energy where you are ready to move through a difficult time and some challenges that you're experiencing. So it is the energy that I align with when I sit in the room with people who are ready to do their work. When we talk about for real, what is magical, that whole entire unfolding of that process, that is the magic. And that is what keeps me doing this work. And Derick and the 24K Life helps me do those things. Our partnership has amplified so much of my own growth. And, I continue to be forever grateful. And whatever I'm able to do to soften up the magic within my man, because he is such the grinder. He's so strong. And
alpha.
Oh, yeah, my bad. Alpha.
That's too funny. I love it. So let's talk about the mutual magic. We just saw our little ad. I recognized early on because I'm a planner. I mean, it's just who I am. I'm a registered investment advisor. So we strategically make plans for people to build wealth and get out of debt and all those type things. So let's trust and believe that comes into play with anything that I'm interested in. Now, I say that I choose my words very carefully, and I got that from Coach Dawn. You got to your words have to align.
Be impeccable.
So so for me as a planner, we were together. We were an item. I don't even know how long it was. I can guarantee you it wasn't 3 months. I had already created this full-blown plan. Yeah. I had a 1 year, 3 year, and a 5 year strategy on how we could grow our businesses together. I mean, this is after 2 or 3 months. I think that might be stretching it, to be honest, but I'm giving myself the benefit of the doubt.
We will. Yeah.
Yeah. It was early. And so, visionary.
You're also the visionary. That's part of your strength as a planner. You've got to be able to assess where we are right now, get fired up about it, and then lean into what the future possibilities could look like.
Right. So our podcast, High Vibe, which I named within those first few months, was part of year 3. Now we started year 5. We started year 5. We started year 5. Or did we finish year 4?
We're finishing up year 4.
Wasn't that September?
No, 4.5. Going into year 5. My bad. I don't know.
Going into 5.
You're saying the same things. My bad.
Right. So the podcast, which we're doing now, going, heading, to our finishing year 5, was really year 3. And you have to understand that even if you have a plan, you have to be willing to make adjustments according to the flow.
Yeah.
Because you can't force anything, and it wasn't doing. And trust me, you're not forcing Coach Dawn to do shit.
And that's the thing. And I know that can, at times, I know that did frustrate you, but I cannot be moved or forced to do anything. It really does have to align and feel a certain way. And I know that's got to be one of the most annoying business practices.
Not really. It's more so, and you already know this about me, it's more so, that was a plan. So, give or take 6-12 months, I was cool with, where we were. Is the thing that is annoying is when we say, okay, we're going to do this on March 1st and we don't. That's that's what gets me, because if we've already agreed, then that's what gets me. Other than that, we didn't agree. I laid out the plan. I shared it with you. You reviewed it. I think your head was still spinning a little bit. Like, this brother is out there.
He is.
Yeah. So just to give you the feel for what I was saying. So I had mapped out our social media. I had mapped out like our privacy, when we would say we were a couple, when we would actually start working. Like, we were going to be working together from day one, but when we would be working together in public. So I had mapped all that out, but you have to be willing to adjust. But Mutual Magic, which I'm glad that it worked the way it did, because I had High Vibe, I didn't have Mutual Magic. And so we figured out the magic, probably 3-4 years in, we figured out, okay, this is different, like so different. It's like magical the way it pops off. So Mutual Magic is our program that we offer in the form of an introductory course on how to get and this is really for people that know that they need life coaching. They know they need to get their money together, but they're kind of scared and they don't really know how it works. So we offer this 21-day challenge, so to speak, and we give you these things that you're going to be doing for 3 weeks so that you can get a feel for what it really takes to see where you are, maybe not on the vibe check card, but on the life check card. Are you ready to commit to really elevate? So everybody thinks they are, but when you get started, you're like, ooh, she's already told you I'm intense. You're like, ooh, that might be a little too much. So coming together, and the whole reason to come together is because, we like the idea that when you take one and you add it to 2, it multiplies to 1,000, right? So it's not just 1 + 1 = 2. It's like one person plus the second person can do incredibly more than just one person. And it's biblical. So if you don't believe me, go look it up. But us being able to multiply and help more people at a deeper level is really where we are. So our Mutual Magic program is about introducing you to the money concepts as well as the life coaching concepts, right? To get you unstuck, to move you in a direction of elevation up that spiral in your life, because your life affects your business and your business affects your money. So that's how we come together. Why don't you talk about, just briefly, the downside? What are the challenges, like blurring work and personal life that people would face when it comes to working together as partners in life and business?
Well, I feel the number one thing is the style, and the intensity, and maybe even the consistency. We do have very different work styles. We're also, you're early morning riser, and I am not.
Right.
You are a big strategic planner and a planner. I am not. And so those have been, pretty, I would just say, areas of opportunity and growth for myself.
Being impeccable. Me too.
Because I am aware that is important. I have just been extremely blessed in the work that I do. I have a very strong referral network from the clients that I work with, the same as you. And our approaches to doing this work they do feel differently. And at times I know to you, it may look like she ain't doing shit.
Oh no, never. No, well, when it comes to,
I've been up for 6 hours and she's still in bed.
Yeah. No, I don't. I don't worry about those type of things. The only time I would say that might be the case is when I'm posting my ass off, or my team is posting, and we're creating content, we're doing all the things, and and we get some engagement, we get some things, we hit, we miss, whatever. But we're doing all this furious stuff over here. I got ads going out, and you post once every 3 weeks, but you got to steady, but you got your style. So like, for instance, I've committed to pick up your style this year on networking, because I don't want to say I don't like it, but I really kind of don't. Going to events and
most people
small talking with people, and
most people don't like it, Derick. Just
good. So, I was gonna say good, but I don't like being average either. So.
Well, I wouldn't say that's average. I just said that's just a majority of humans. It's like nobody really loves that, and especially when you are tying in the business aspect, because it is different than like going out and socializing for happy hour and having a drink with some friends. I mean, networking to me is a very intentional, purposeful act in how you show up.
Right.
I am very targeted, and on the events that I show up, I'm very mindful of who's going to be in the room, and my favorite word that you gave me, and what the optics look like.
Right.
And not just willy-nilly. We do have to be very intentional about
right
where we show up with our energy.
Yeah, no, 100%. But that's the beauty again of the yin and the yang, because I need to do more of that. I want to do more of that, because the social media thing is so noisy, it's so crowded, it's so crazy that it takes, I don't know what it takes to like really make headway in that marketplace. So organic marketing from a business perspective is way better. It's way more effective, and it's more relationship oriented than, hey, did you like the picture I took with my cowboy hat? So other challenges that I think could come up would be, if you have a disagreement in business, it feels personal, and I don't know if we talked about this. I think we've covered it a little bit when we talked about the 4 agreements a few episodes ago, but man, when we first met, and even before we met, I took everything personal. I mean, not just with you. I mean, in life. I mean, if I got a client, it was me. If I didn't get the client, it was me. And, if I slipped and fell, that was my fault. If I, scored 1,000 points, that was my fault. So I took everything personal. So it took me a little while to really do some work in that area of myself, and to understand that we're all on a journey.
Yes.
And that, God's not going to let me miss something that's for me. It's impossible for me to miss something that's for me. And it took me a little bit to get there, but, no matter what age you are, you're continuing to grow. But, disputes in business sometimes can feel personal, if you're blurring the lines. But I think the solution to that is to be open, right? Mm-hmm. And to be, like, I'm open when you tell me, that's a little aggressive. Or, you might want to change the way you're addressing these type people, this energy. Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm open to those things, because I do trust you. And even if it does, and it doesn't feel personal now, but in the beginning it felt personal, even though I was like, no. And you can tell me this, tell me what you think about this. I told you in the beginning, giving me pats on the back or false support does not help me at all. Mm-hmm. So even if it's hard to take the medicine, I need the medicine. And I'm saying, you could tell me, I think that's a pretty accurate description of how I am. What do you think?
No, absolutely. And you've always wanted, constructive feedback. Don't just tell me what I can hear from anyone else. So it took me some time to really sit in that, so I could give you the feedback in a way, knowing you now, that I knew you could receive constructively without taking it personally. But that's a part of our journey together, and really knowing your partner. And so just to be able to use language in a way that you can like receive it and go, yeah, okay, I got that, by using, certain examples. So it made more sense to you. And when I do tell you, hey, babe, this is awesome, it's great, I do mean that. And then at times I can look at things, hey, you may want to soften this, and then give him an example of, here, this is what I've seen on some other platforms, and I think this would be well received by your avatar. So it's more than just, okay, patting my man on the back, and it is also being constructive without being overly critical, because those things they're very different. And then showing up with other examples of other work, like, okay, I got it.
Yeah, and that helped a lot, because you sent me an example. This is what I meant by softer. I'm like, oh, okay. Then I sent it to my team.
Yes.
We need softer.
Exactly.
Hey, we'll be right back, but don't go anywhere.
Have you ever been paralyzed by fear? Do you allow others to influence your desires? I'm here to be your guide. Curate an experience that's just for you. I am Dawn Johnson, and I am the dopest life coach that you didn't know you needed.
There you go. That's dope. I love that commercial every time.
It makes me smile every time.
I know, it's dope.
It really does. It really does. And to know that it makes me smile, it also feels good to know that that is the impact that my clients walk away with as well.
Yeah, that is super cool. So we've covered the challenges, and the only one we didn't cover, or a couple things that we could cover is maintaining the intimacy and all that kind of stuff. Luckily, we don't have the kind of business that, you go to some corporate deal that, she's in charge of sales and I'm in charge of operations and we're fighting because somebody overspent on the budget. We don't have that kind of situation. So we don't have those problems in our business relationship. And then also on the financial pressures, let me help you. Every entrepreneur has financial pressure. So if you get caught up and to dismay with the financial pressures, it's going to be a rough road. However, it's always good to go check that vibe check card and see where you are, regardless of what the impetus is, and then do your best to adjust. But why don't you discuss?
Hey, babe, I want to offer, what do you think about competition in relationship and competing against each other? Do you think that ever shows up in business partnerships between couples or not? Yeah,
I think competition shows up. And I think that now it doesn't show up for us, but I want to talk about that. But I don't think it shows up for us. But yes, I think competition shows up. And I also think that that's why some people can't work together. And because you're going to talk about the overcoming these challenges, but one of those solutions is to respect each other's role, right? Respect the fact that, yep, I got the back end, you got the front end. Yes, we can help each other, but I'm not going to come in there and tell you to get harder. Hey, babe, you need to get harder. I mean, first of all, we already know it works, so take that look off your face.
The David Goggins approach would never fly.
Yeah. David Goggins wouldn't work. In case you don't know, David Goggins is the hardest man on the planet, at least
on the planet.
But but that's not healthy. It's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable for most humans.
Can you imagine him at 75? Get hard. Or stay hard. Just stay hard. Yeah.
We'll be baby. It's not get hard.
Yeah, but but so for me, with you being an ex-track athlete, I was like, this is dope. She knows what it takes to work hard. She knows what it takes to get it done. She understands that you got to go out there and you got to practice every day, and then you're going to go run your race, and your races is 55 seconds. but you put in a whole, 3 months worth of work to run this 55 seconds to win this trophy. She understands that. She understands, that you got to sweat. So I was like, oh, this is cool. I don't have to explain a whole part of business to her because she already gets it. And even though she's in her flow, she does get it. She gets that you have to be consistent. You have to have these attributes in order to be successful. But she's also learned, which I don't want to say I didn't learn, but I didn't learn as much that, you don't have to force it, right? You don't have to make it happen, which was one of my mottos for years on end, make it happen. I was like, Nike said, just do it. I was like, make it happen, and so we can't make anything happen. All we can do is the absolute best we can do, and then let God do his thing. And that's your flow. And that works excruciatingly well for you. And I see how well it works for you. And so I back off, right? I don't try to push anymore.
And wouldn't you say that last year was a really successful year for you in business?
I had a great financial year. I doubled my income from the year before. Yep.
And would you offer that, some of the, areas of expertise that I brought into the mix really helped you to align to reach that?
No, without a question of a doubt, because you settled into your business, you settled into your flow, you settled into what was working for you, and you were able to more clearly exemplify the results. So all I had to do was watch. It wasn't like she was in my ear, do this, don't do that, stop doing it. It wasn't like that at all. We talked about this, before. If you're paying attention, you don't need as many words. So of course I'm paying attention and I'm looking and I'm sitting back going, well, if she would just do this, then this would happen. And she didn't do this, but that happened anyway. So absolutely, I would give you a big percentage of
where's my cut?
Where's your cut? You don't get your cut.
I get my cut. Okay, I get.
I was gonna say you don't get your cut.
Yes, baby, I do.
So all right. So no, competition, healthy competition is good, and more so. And I don't know if you call this competition or not. You can tell me what you think, but we balance each other from the standpoint of, let's say, for instance, I don't want to work out. Or that's we'll flip that. You don't want to work out, and I'm like, let's go work out. And you're like, okay. And then when we're done, you're like, oh God, that was great. I'm glad I worked out. Mm-hmm. On my end, it's like, I'm gonna eat this, and you're like, no, babe, don't eat that. You said you weren't gonna eat carbs, you weren't gonna eat this, so don't come on, don't do that. And then I'm like, okay, you're right, I won't do it. So I don't think it's competition. I don't know what you call that though.
I would call it that we both are mutually invested in each other's wellness.
Mm-hmm.
We really are. And there is an intentionality that clearly has heightened since we have both had some health
scares,
challenges. Yes, those things. And we really are partners. We really are partners in life. There is this connectedness that, I don't always have the best words to describe our partnership, but it works. And it is a combination of
mutual magic
of a multitude of things. And I do love the fact that we're both former athletes. So there are some mindset things and some heart set things, the heart of a lion, the heart of a competitor, the heart of a winner,
the heart of a champion.
And these are things that we didn't have to pull each other along. Mm-hmm. What was already known did not need to be explained. It was mutually there for both of us. And it was a lot easier for us to tap in to that space of where we are connected. And the work is to stay in that energy of what is working. And we get back to trust, as the cornerstone, as the foundation. I trust you. My man is a man that can lead me. He is successful in his business, and yes, I trust the support and advice and guidance that he gets me. And then when I see the results of his guidance and mutually we both are having year after year after year, we're growing our businesses. And so it only made sense, like, let's bring these great superpowers together and offer something out to individuals as well as couples. Come into the space of mutual magic so we can guide you into creating your own.
Yeah, let me tell you guys a funny story. So every couple of years, I do a big conference, 24K Life conference. And so last year, I'm like, hey, babe, I got you on deck to do 45 minutes. And she was like, oh, no, that's not going to work. I'm not getting up on stage to speak. I'm like, all right, well, how about I interview you? And we go from there. And she says, oh, yeah, okay, that's fine. I'll do that. But I'm not. And she didn't say no right away. She just kind of let it hang out there for a while. And then she circled back and was like, yeah, I'm not really feeling that. And, and you might not know. But of course, I'm like, well, come on. Like, you can do it. You're amazing. You can do anything. You can do this. This is not a problem. And she's like, no, I'm not feeling it. And I'm like, but you can do it. I'm not feeling it. So I'm like, okay, fine. So, of course, being a solution-oriented guy, I'm like, okay, well, how about I just interview you on stage, like a podcast, but on stage, and we'll go from there. And so she goes, yeah, I can do that.
Because it was softer. It was a softer entry point. That really was the difference.
Okay.
Speaking by myself on stage, heavier energy. Oh, interviewing me and me just answering some questions. Oh, I can do that.
Yeah. So we get to the event. And, and trust me, she wasn't the only one. It was only out of 4 or 5 speakers, only one wanted the center stage. Mm-hmm. And so again, it's normal that people don't want to get up on stage. Public speaking is one of the bigger fears for everybody. Mm-hmm. So I understood it, but I just, she's magical. I was like, you can do this. So anyway, we get there. I do the interview. And we're doing the interview, and I had told her, okay, so the last question I'm going to lob it up, and then I'm going to leave the stage and let you do your thing. I'm going to take the chairs off the stage so you stand up and blah, blah, blah. So she goes, okay. So we get there, we do our thing. It goes exactly the way we thought. I lob it up, and 30 minutes later, I'm like, babe.
Did you need the Sandman to pull me off the stage?
No, I didn't have to pull you off stage because I did that in the past to speakers, and it didn't go over well with the audience. So they were like, man, you were rough. So I had learned my lesson from that. But my point was that you loved it. You loved being center stage, and you killed it. So that just gives you a flavor for how we work together and how we figure it out. And the next time, there's an opportunity for her to speak, she's going to remember that she killed it and that she can do it. And that's that. But as we wrap this episode up, let's go over, why don't you just knock out the bullet points on how, the individuals that are working together or potentially working together can overcome some of these challenges.
There's so many ways that we can overcome these challenges. Number 1, let's set some boundaries. Number 2, respect each other's roles. Number 3, communicate openly. Number 4, and we didn't really talk a lot about this, but make time for fun. We got to bring fun into this.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Got to make time for fun. We got to laugh. We got to keep things light at times because we know as business owners, it can be very, difficult and challenging at times. So find moments of brevity and keep it light. And have that shared vision. And that probably is the number 1, placeholder to start with. Where do you come together mutually to create a sustainable workflow and magic together?
Yeah, those are excellent tips on how to overcome some things that might come up, that probably will come up. Something's coming up, and you got to figure out how to move forward and stay in that upward spiral. But our final thoughts and action steps are, if you're in business or you're thinking about going into business with your partner, I suggest that you really take a step back and you decide if you are coming together in the exact same business to really do, what Dawn said, which is identify your roles. But if you're in business, take a step back, especially if you're just getting started, and figure out who does what best and let them do that, and be open and trusting, because if you're in a personal relationship, you should already have that incredible level of trust. Mm-hmm. Shouldn't be hard to transfer that over into business. So, you know what? We would love to hear from you, and we would love to hear what some of your challenges have been if you're in business, or if you have some additional thoughts about what they could be. In addition to that, if you would love for us or like for us to talk about something that we haven't touched on just yet, we'd be happy to entertain that. But you know what? We ask you to like, to share our episode. You know, our goal, our dream is to be able to touch, thousands of families, to change the dynamics, to change the financial structure, to create legacy for people that truly want to elevate their lives. Don't forget that we need you to subscribe. We need you to share your love and to share this with other people striving for excellence. Yes. I'm Derick, and I'm wishing you the absolute best each and every day.
And I am Coach Dawn Johnson. Be well and have an amazing rest of the day.
Hey, I got that right.
You did. I was waiting.
You was waiting.
You bet not.
Yeah, and I was taking my time.
Yes. Yes, you did.
All right. Be well, everybody.